Despite the fact that it was McLaren who won a race other than Red Bull this season and not Ferrari, the Scuderia is very confident going into the European part of the season, and Vasseur sent out a warning to the Milton Keynes squad that proves the Italian side is ready and will come out all guns blazing. It seems like the Miami race didn't disappoint Ferrari, and with a good duo of drivers in Sainz and Leclerc, it strives for great things this season. But will they be able to achieve them now that McLaren has also proven they have a race-winning car? Ferrari fell short of its intended impact in the 6th round of the 2024 Formula One Championship, the Miami Grand Prix, held at the Miami International Autodrome in Florida. The disappointment was tangible as Lando Norris claimed his first Formula One career victory, capitalizing on a timely safety car intervention for a free pit stop. Norris not only managed to change tyres, but also found himself ahead of Max Verstappen once more. It's worth acknowledging Norris's remarkable pace, outperforming Verstappen and Charles Leclerc despite running on worn tyres. The McLaren MCL38 proved unbeatable, even for Verstappen's Red Bull, and although Leclerc kept pace with the championship leader, his Ferrari lacked the necessary straight line speed to capitalize on the American track's long straights, settling for 3rd place. Carlos Sainz in the other Ferrari SF24 initially finished 4th but was penalized 5 seconds, dropping him to 5th, and Sainz lost valuable time behind Oscar Piastri as well. The upcoming race weekend is very important for the 2024 Formula One Championship, and for Ferrari as well, as it is an important moment that must affirm McLaren's notable progress with their latest updates, crucial for keeping the competition alive against Red Bull, and especially Max Verstappen. For the Milton Keynes-based team, it serves as a platform to gauge the effectiveness of their forthcoming updates, and to understand the extent to which the competition has closed the gap. This race weekend is particularly decisive for the future of the Maranello side, which, despite being the 2nd strongest force thus far, finds itself surpassed by the Woking team, at least based on the results and performances observed in the Miami Grand Prix. Nevertheless, the Italian team has consistently targeted the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix weekend in Imola as the opportunity for the introduction of the initial package of developments, expected to significantly enhance the SF24 single-seater's performance by approximately 2 to 3/10 of a second. This is why there is major confidence in Ferrari's paddock ahead of Imola, as Ferrari is a team that traditionally receives heavy scrutiny for its operational shortcomings. Poor pit stops and questionable strategy calls have characterized the team in previous years. However, under the leadership of Vasseur, this narrative is changing. The Italian team is performing at a very high level, optimizing the impressive SF24 package. With upgrades, the Ferrari team principal is confident that Red Bull is within striking range. It would be a mistake to overstate Red Bull's predicament. They are still first in the championship, and at least for now, the RB20 is the fastest car on the grid. The Austrian squad will also bring some updates to Imola as the factory in Milton Keynes responds to rivals' advances. Still, Ferrari and McLaren are in far stronger positions than at any time in the last 18 months. After being lapped at Miami last year, McLaren has continued last year's mid-season trajectory with another set of upgrades. The innovations brought to Miami unlocked approximately 4/10ths per lap, and this was enough to defeat Max Verstappen, albeit with some luck, in Florida last weekend. Ferrari, meanwhile, will perhaps be more encouraged than McLaren by last weekend. Of course, it was not Charles Leclerc or Carlos Sainz who claimed victory. However, considering the SF24 had no upgrades fitted, its competitiveness was very high. Speaking to the media post-race, team principal Vasseur discussed his ambitions to put pressure on Red Bull. They are not anymore in the comfort zone of last year, when that doesn't matter what's happened after lap 2, SB Nation quotes Vasseur as saying. I think a game change in the management in the race. It's an opportunity for us, because if we are doing another small step, I think that we will be really in a position to fight with them every single weekend. In the first quarter of the 2024 season, Ferrari has been strategically pressuring Red Bull to make errors. With the SF24 closely trailing the RB20, the reigning champions lack the comfortable margin they once had. The goal at the Imola GP is to push this strategy further. If Maranello's upgrades prove comparable to McLaren's, Ferrari could see more victories within reach. Furthermore, successful updates would validate Ferrari's development trajectory. Headlines in F1 news regarding the team's mid-season progress could paint a different picture this year. With promising updates slated for the rest of 2024 and even into 2025, the prospect of a fiercely competitive F1 grid looms large. But what are these upgrades? It will be a massive package that will push to the limit the seemingly conventional concepts which we are currently seeing on the SF24 single-seater. Maranello calls it a version 2.0 SF24 that we will see in 10 days' time. The prancing horse will adopt an aerodynamic design initially tested and left aside at that moment, but which, in parallel evaluation with the initially planned program, has found confirmation, and the radiator inlet mouths will be reversed, adopting a different compromise to ensure greater development opportunities. The SF24 will feature a new inlet, which not only will be more extreme in terms of openings, but, contrary to the initial orientation, will resume the idea of the Red Bull with the reversed lip, demonstrating the flexibility Enrico Cardilli spoke of. An aggressiveness in some respects contrary to the development plans adopted by Scuderia Ferrari in recent years. However, some in-depth studies in the wind tunnel carried out in parallel with current solutions have provided gains more interesting than expected. Hence the flexibility to wait in a strictly confidential manner a few weeks longer than the initial schedule, postponing the first package that would have been partially ready from Asia to Miami directly to Italy for the Imola race weekend. To see the comprehensive upgrades package, Ferrari has conducted its second and final filming session at its Fiorano test track, and this serves to provide an initial shakedown for the upgrades and minimize the calibration work required at Imola. While these filming days are restricted to 200 kilometers and employ special Pirelli tires, they yield valuable data for Ferrari to compare the new upgrades with their virtual counterparts and align the work conducted in the wind tunnel by the technical team led by Enrico Cardilli. Additionally, the filming day serves the purpose of capturing rights-free footage featuring the SF24 adorned with the blue HP logos in its updated livery, driven by Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Following the recent partnership with the American tech giant, which debuted at the Miami Grand Prix, where their blue logos were prominently displayed on the engine cover, front and rear wings, this session also marks an opportunity for the team to integrate the new branding. It is anticipated that Oliver Behrman, the team's third driver, will also gain valuable mileage during the session to add to his preparation for his first FP1 session of the season at Imola, where he will assume duties in the Haas VF24. Team principal Fred Vasseur downplayed speculation surrounding Ferrari's first major upgrades to the SF24, suggesting that while significant, they may not be as transformative as anticipated. However, Vasseur emphasized that given the fierce competition with the recently upgraded McLarens, even modest improvements could be pivotal in gaining an edge over the Woking-based outfit. We don't have to expect that it will be a game changer, but it's so tight that this can bring performance, Vasseur said. Our competitors brought parts this Miami weekend, and it was not a game changer. But it's also that when in qualifying you have 4 or 5 cars in 1/10. If you bring 1/10, it's a game changer for the weekend. But a large part of the result, it's coming also from what we are doing with the drivers, the setup of the car during the weekend, the management of the tires. We don't have to think only about upgrades and development, it's also the job that we are doing on track. Now the focus shifts to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, which will take place on May 19th. The event will return to be held for the first time since 2022, after last year's cancellation due to the flood, and promises to be a true turning point in the 2024 Formula One season. After 6 races, Max Verstappen and Red Bull are leading as predicted, both championships. However, Ferrari's success in Australia and McLaren's victory in Miami make the competition more exciting than what was seen in 2023, when the Milton Keynes team was clearly far ahead of the competition. After all, it was since 2018 that in the first 6 races, 3 different teams hadn't conquered the top step of the podium. Imola will be important to see if Red Bull will lose for the first time since 2022 2 consecutive races, but also to understand which upgrades will work and which won't. In Miami, McLaren made a super step with its MCL38, but but only Lando Norris had the complete package available. In Italy, it will also be Oscar Piastri's turn to see his car updated. Then there's obviously the highly anticipated Ferrari upgrade package, which can define the ambitions of the red team for this year. But if the hunters sharpen their weapons, the hare is ready to react. According to recent reports in the German media, it seems that Red Bull will also bring some novelties to their car. This is the second intervention on the car after the updates introduced at the Suzuka circuit. This is a clear signal that the Red Bull technicians are aware of still having an advantage over the competition, but not as wide as in 2023. So they want to avoid bringing the direct contenders too close to risk experiencing a more balanced championship than expected. Do you think Ferrari can compete against Red Bull and McLaren this year, especially at Imola? Let us know down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.